What if there are no alien worlds that can support human life? Could we expand our civilization to space itself?
Yes, of course. Imagine a future where trillions of humans live in space habitats, harnessing the power of the sun and even growing forests on comets. It sounds like fantasy, but it might be the destiny of humankind. Remember, the New York skyline was once just a dream too. Would a settler from 1626 Manhattan have imagined the towering city of today? The limitations of their day seemed insurmountable, yet look at what we've achieved.
We seem pretty far from building megastructures in space, but you're right. History shows us that today's impossibilities can become tomorrow's realities. Let's discuss how that could happen and introduce you to a brand new short story that takes place on an O'Neill cylinder.
Take your seat. The human adventure is just beginning.
When I was younger, I stumbled upon a book that changed my perspective on space exploration. Colonies in Space by T.A. Heppenheimer. Instead of searching for habitable planets, it proposed building massive structures in space. One such structure is the O'Neill cylinder, designed to rotate and create artificial gravity, potentially housing large populations and being entirely self-contained.
Exactly. But the engineering hurdles are significant. We'd need to develop new materials, master microgravity construction, and solve complex rotational control issues. But remember, 400 years ago, the idea of New York City's skyline would have seemed equally impossible to the settlers of New Amsterdam.
How does an O'Neill cylinder work? Structures like this would have to be built in space, using materials mined from the moon or asteroids. The entire industrial process would have to be in space too. Launching such materials from Earth would be beyond the reach of even future civilizations. Each cylinder rotates to generate artificial gravity through centrifugal force, creating habitable areas on the inner surface of the cylinder. A typical O'Neill cylinder might measure about 5 miles or 8 kilometers in diameter and 20 miles, 32 kilometers in length, providing a surface area of roughly 500 square miles or 1,300 square kilometers per cylinder. In a two-cylinder configuration, these habitats would rotate in opposite directions to counterbalance the angular momentum, preventing the destabilization of the overall structure. This design creates a stable environment, possibly with enough space for millions, even tens of millions of inhabitants. Theoretically, the largest two-cylinder configuration could expand beyond the originally proposed dimensions to increase the habitable surface area to over, say, 9,400 square miles, about 24,000 square kilometers per cylinder, creating an artificial ecosystem vast enough to support hundreds of millions of people. In an O'Neill cylinder, the provision of essential life support systems such as air, soil, water, power, and food is crucial to sustaining a large population. Air circulation and quality control are maintained through advanced life support systems that continuously recycle and purify the atmosphere. Plants play a vital role in this process, using photosynthesis to absorb carbon dioxide and release oxygen, creating a natural air filtration system. Additionally, mechanical air scrubbers would remove excess carbon dioxide and harmful contaminants, ensuring a breathable atmosphere similar to Earth's own. Oxygen production, from both plants and splitting apart water through electrolysis, would be a continuous effort, requiring careful monitoring to maintain the health and well-being of the habitat's inhabitants. Water, which is now being found in quantity on the Moon, asteroids, and even Mercury, would be plentiful. Water is, of course, essential for life and agriculture. Once ready for use in the cylinder, it would be meticulously recycled and managed. All water used by residents, agriculture, and other systems would undergo filtration and purification before being reused. Wastewater treatment plants would play a crucial role in turning waste and gray water into potable water, while closed-loop systems in agriculture would minimize the waste. Soil in an O'Neill cylinder would be an engineered mixture, optimized for agricultural production. Traditional Earth soil, with its complex ecosystem of microorganisms, nutrients, and organic matter, would need to be replicated in a controlled environment. This would include finding a source of phosphorus, an essential nutrient for plant growth. One likely source are asteroids called carbonaceous chondrites, known to contain phosphorus-bearing minerals such as apatite. Hydroponics and aeroponics. These methods use nutrient-rich water or mist instead of soil, and would likely be used extensively to grow crops efficiently while minimizing water usage. However, soil-based farming might still be used in some areas to cultivate a broader range of crops and maintain ecological diversity. Power in an O'Neill cylinder would most likely come from solar energy, harvested through vast solar panels located on the exterior of the structure. These panels would capture sunlight directly from the sun, providing nearly limitless energy to power the habitat systems. This solar energy would be stored in batteries or converted into electricity for everyday use, such as running lighting systems, heating, air conditioning, water purification, and agricultural equipment. Given the massive energy demands of such a large structure, a stable and renewable power supply would be essential for the long-term success of the habitat. The food supply would be intricately linked to air, water, and soil systems, with agriculture being a central part of life within the cylinder. A combination of traditional farming, hydroponics, and vertical farming would ensure that a wide variety of crops could be grown to meet the dietary needs of the population. Protein sources might come from plant-based agriculture, aquaculture, or even lab-grown meat, reducing the resource intensity of raising livestock. Sustainable farming practices combined with water conservation and efficient recycling of organic waste would ensure a continuous food supply. These interconnected systems would work together to provide a self-sustaining environment, mimicking the natural cycles of Earth to enable long-term habitation in space. Now, one thing we didn't include here were vulnerabilities, but that's the subject of our short story that takes place on an O'Neill cylinder. It's called Xenia Dreams, and we'll tell you how to find that at the end of the video. Now, what happens when you take the concept of O'Neill cylinders and multiply it by thousands or even millions? I believe you get a Dyson swarm. Named after physicist Freeman Dyson, it's a vast collection of orbiting structures designed to capture a star's energy, including numerous independent satellites and space city-states like O'Neill cylinders, Bernal spheres, and Stanford toruses.
Right. A Dyson swarm could grow organically over time, starting small and expanding as our capabilities increase. We could use materials from asteroids, comets, and even the solar wind to build it.
Here's a concept that really captures the imagination. What about Dyson trees? These are hypothetical plants that could grow in space, rooted in a comet or asteroid, and create their own habitats, potentially large enough for settlers to live in.
Indeed. Imagine a solar system where generations of genetically modified redwoods have come to resist radiation, enclose asteroids in shells of lignin and cellulose, and create bubbles of habitable space for settlers in the final frontier. Did you know that this year, there is actually an experimental satellite made of magnolia wood panels called LignoSat? Wood may have a place in space. Transgenic engineering and adaptive gene editing may enable life on Earth to create the environments we need to survive in space. In a few centuries, perhaps a ring of forested comets will encircle the Sun, hosting a population of billions.
These ideas are incredible, but they seem so far beyond our current capabilities. How do we get from here to there?
Progress often happens in leaps and bounds. Look at how launch costs have dropped. With SpaceX's Starship, full reusability is expected to drive launch costs down to about $1,600 per kilogram to low Earth orbit, and even lower over time. In the Space Shuttle era, that cost was $54,500 per kilogram, a 97% reduction in just 13 years. From small acorns, mighty oaks do grow, or space sequoias, whichever comes first. Each of these developments brings us one step closer to the future we've been discussing. The solar system is waiting for us, and the shape our civilization takes in the coming centuries will be truly breathtaking. As we've seen throughout history, human ingenuity knows no bounds. The journey to the stars is just beginning, and who knows what wonders we'll create along the way.
From O'Neill cylinders to Dyson Swarms and Trees, the possibilities for humanity's future in space are mind-boggling. While these concepts may seem like science fiction today, they could be reality tomorrow. Thanks for joining us on this cosmic journey. If you're excited about the future of spacefaring civilization, like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Let's dream big together.
Until next time, keep looking up. And Scott, don't forget to tell them about the story.
That's right, we have a story about the dark side of life on an O'Neill cylinder, including migration conflicts and terrorism. It's not always sunny in space. You can read our new short story, Xenia Dreams, by following the link in the description. It's an exciting adventure that will help you think about the possibilities of life in space. Hey, Dreamforge Magazine is a science and fantasy fiction magazine founded on the idea that the human adventure is just beginning. Our stories aren't about apocalypse, doom-scrolling, or dystopia. Speculative fiction should be the literature of hope, genius, determination, and ideas, and that's what you'll find in our pages. We often use the tagline, "In all worlds and times, our tales revolve around those individuals and groups who bring meaning and value to the world, whose actions are of consequence, and whose dreams are the vanguard of things to come." If you love science fiction and fantasy, don't miss out. Support us at the digital or print level on Patreon or at our website. Links will be in the description. A few dollars a month from you helps bring great stories to life.
Until next time, bye-bye.